everyone, Jess here, and today I'm joined with Murray Skelton from FLYHT Aerospace Solutions, part of an FTG company. Thanks for joining me today, Murray.
Thank you for having me.
Cool, so firstly, some estimates predict that disruption costs the industry as much as 8% of the total revenue. Are you able to share any tangible examples of how effective flight planning can minimize some of this disruption?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, flight planning forms lots of different factors. One of the biggest disruptors is weather. And then the other big disruptor is technical failures on the aircraft. And at FLYHT, we can contribute to helping airlines with both of those. Firstly, we manufacture the world's only 5G WQAR. That means that it can get the data off the aircraft to the engineering team, to the camo teams very, very quickly, and that means that a response to any technical faults can happen much faster. So straight away, that's helping reduce delays due to technical impact. On the other side of things, weather is massively influential, and a great many delays, almost the majority of delays within an airline, that's delays to flight, that's delays to takeoffs, that's delays en route, is due to weather. And while we have really good weather, we don't have the best weather we can have. So
Absolutely, so you want to do what you can to mitigate the disruption involved with that?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you know, being able to predict that it's cold enough outside to do icing, I mean, icing can take some time. If you're operating like we're in Canada, if you're operating in Canada, icing's a big issue. Knowing that the aircraft's going to be iced or is going to need de-icing, and knowing that the aircraft itself has reached the point where it needs to be de-iced, that means that you can plan that de-icing and reduce the delay to takeoff. Likewise, weather en route. Weather moves all the time, and most of our weather is around 15 minutes out of date. Plus, most of our weather is calculated based on data that is also out of date. However, airlines can participate in things like TAMDAR, which is basically turning an aircraft into a weather balloon or a flying weather station. But not everybody takes that up. It's a voluntary thing. We also produce a really small sensor that goes on the side of the aircraft, which gets humidity. And when it comes to weather, humidity, as well as all the other weather factors, is really important to accurate weather. So to get really good weather, to help avoid delays, and to get much more efficient routing and flight planning, we should have as a community almost a mandate that says all aircraft that are flying should be effectively flying weather stations, which is part of AMDAR and something called the WVSS. So, yeah, weather is really influential to airlines, especially during the winter. So.
Of course, and then you can take airlines from being sort of reactive to proactive and all the knock-on effects that can then have.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I mean, you know yourself. You plan a picnic. You say, okay, we're going to go down to the beach for the picnic. It's going to be a beautiful sunny day. You get there and it's raining. Well, how come it changed from when I watched the news this morning to now? You know, well, that was like 20 minutes ago, and the weather that it was using was 15 minutes old. You know, if airlines participate actively in providing the data for the weather, and with the next generation weather computers, I don't know if you know, the UK Met, for example, is investing millions, hundreds of millions of pounds in next generation weather computers in their supercomputer facility in Exeter. NOAA is doing exactly the same, and these are some of the key weather providers in the world. But their computers are only as good as the data we provide, and they need more data. And the best place, and actually the cheapest place to get the data, is to turn aircraft into a weather system.
Fantastic. Okay, and that's a painfully accurate analogy about the picnic that you used earlier. That's all too familiar.
I live in Scotland. We know what weather's about. All 4 seasons in one day.
Yeah,
so.
I can well imagine. And then, I mean, we've spoken about data quite a lot already, but of course, the number of aircraft in operation is set to double by about 2042, and that's going to put a huge strain on operations and ATM. Yes. How important is it going to be for airlines to effectively leverage their data to ease this transition?
So leveraging data is going to be really important. One of the biggest problems you've got still with aircraft today is connectivity. You know, data it has to be pretty much valid. Old data in some cases, especially for weather, as we said, if it's 15 minutes, 20 minutes old, it's not the most useful data in the world. And getting data to the right place, you know, within the right period of time to make it useful is also really, really important. But connectivity is still reasonably in its infancy within the airline industry, and that's one thing that has to be embraced. I mean, right now, ACARS is still the #1 communications tool off an airplane. Right, it's something from 1958. Yeah, it's equivalent to our very early texting when we had our cellular phones. And yes, there are IP systems out there, but the uptake still is quite slow. As we move into the future, especially as you said, with ATC getting really busy, and with all of the fantastic things that the likes of ICAO are predicting, the like of Eurocontrol, the FAA with this 4D trajectory management, which is real-time management, connectivity is going to be absolutely key to that. Yeah, and that's all data driven, and AI also looks like it's going to play a major part in that.
Absolutely, so. And then when it comes to data, the importance of it is hard to overstate. But how difficult is it to ensure data quality to make sure, like you say, it's the most reliable, accurate, up-to-date data?
So data quality is an issue. I mean, if we take a look at our weather sensor, they can fly through all sorts of things, which means that the actual information coming from the weather system is harmful, and we should just throw it away. So, being able to clean the data up and do that in real time so that the data is within limits, etc., is also very important. And a lot of the new predictive maintenance systems that we can feed with like our 5G WQR, our AFIRS Edge unit, they do all of that data quality mining, which is really cool. And the newer the systems, the faster the systems, they make sure that bad data basically is not used. So on that basis, data quality is extremely key. And now it's also a bit about quantity. Yeah, the more data that you can get. I mean, we worked in a period before whereby data costs were so expensive that we tried to use it, but use it as slimly or as efficiently as we could. When we're talking about cellular, and cellular should be a much bigger part in aviation, it's so cheap. I mean, when was the last time you worried about downloading a movie on your iPhone? You don't care. That's gigabytes compared to and even terabytes compared to what the airlines are sending down. So, the technology is changing, the data is getting cheaper there, the transmission of data is getting cheaper, and that is all going to help, big style. But we're not there yet.
No, not yet, but we're getting there. And then when we think about events like today, how do they help to drive innovation in the industry?
So events like this are good, people talk. Yeah, this one's very different. There's no kind of single track. We normally do single track events. So this one's a bit more broad. For us, we'd like to see more airlines. We've seen a few. But for here, we've got everything. There's a lot more business to business done here than business to customer. But it's interesting. It's interesting to see what everybody's doing. I mean, at this track, it's been AI, and there's a lot of AI. And everybody knows that AI is coming in huge steps. How much within this industry? It's a very careful industry. It doesn't like to just push the boundaries. It likes to see what other people do and follow. But I'm sure AI has a big impact. So.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for joining me today, Murray.
Thank you for having me. It's been wonderful to meet you and talk to you. Thanks a lot.